I already tried selling 2 times yesterday. Yeah, no, I tried buying yesterday, so you saw me. Like the good, the bad, and the ugly, okay? The worst part is the stop was large. So me averaging in, the loss should not have been as big as it was, but it was a decent loss in comparison. Like, but that was literally one setup that I took 2 entries on. And I remember I'm sized down. So for me to have that big of a loss on essentially 2 entries, that was kind of big. So, but I did end up recovering, which is a blessing. So, good morning, everyone. Can we pretty please check our hearts real quick and then we'll get started?
Good morning. Yes, I will. Father, in the name of Jesus, Lord, we come before you, Father, thanking you, Lord, for all that you do and continue to do in our lives. We invite your Holy Spirit to have your way, Lord. We surrender this to you, Father. We submit all to you, Father, because in your word you said if we would just seek first your kingdom, Father, and your way of doing things, Father, that all would be handed to us. Father, we thank you, Lord, for your guidance. We thank you for your protection. We give you praise in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. Okay, guys, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of interesting levels here. So yesterday I tried to buy, there's a few things I could have done better, which I'll break that down later when we have more time. But for now, right, we're sitting at the 79%, fade short. Obviously, this is a heck of a place to try to short, okay? There's going to be a huge overnight gap. There's no way not to. So if we do end up coming to take highs, all that means is we know before we start to do this all-time high track, we have more gaps to go down. Because again, that's a sizable gap. That's 900s down to 300. It's a 300-point gap. That's a regular trading range gap. So we'll see that in about 3 minutes, kind of appear on the chart. Interesting thing is we had this level marked up. We came and literally fulfilled nearly the entire level, popped up. We came fulfilled nearly this entire level, popped down. So we've really been range bound, okay? One way or another, we've been range bound. This should be, in theory, the thing that tells us if we're getting above the 26,000s and holding, obviously doesn't mean we can't tank down to close that gap before we go up. We're going up long-term higher. Otherwise, to long this, there's no great place for your entry if you're not already in it. If you are, like I said, we've got another 20 points, 15 from where we're at. I think easy targets to short. Okay, so any micro short that I could take, which is going to be counter trend, this 50% is 50% of this larger size move. So it's just halfway, right? It's half of the bigger, most recent leg. That's all it is. Not fancy. You don't even have to know a lot about Fibonacci to know that, but it's my area of interest because if we drag that all the way across, you'll see how many times price has stalled here. So I find those areas of interest to be beautiful. You can mark them as blue or gray. It's up to you. This right here is 50% of this most recent leg up. So are we going to get all the way down into there? This is going to line up with that 61%-ish, which I'd love to see it. But with the size of this move, I said it yesterday, I'll say it again today, it might be the better day to say until we have a clear direction, we just don't have one. We've got yesterday's highs here. We've got pre-market low, yesterday's low, and then pre-market high. Hi, Oliver. He just popped my office door open because he wants girly attention. That's what this is. So that's what I've got. Bigger time frame. I have to go to the daily real quick before we finish this in 1 minute. I really want to see how this works. If we push higher, okay, if we end up closing above this and not kind of forming that upper wick, we're definitely going up quite a bit. So really excited to see what happens here. Now down to the 5 minute. I'll go down one more. I don't know why I would be short right here. It's just not a reason to. Save that. Let's see. I'm going to go to the 2 minute time frame. Off screen, I'm mostly looking at the 5, and I'm going to turn our stuff back on. Also, just fair note, that buy was caught perfectly by all the inside candles, the areas of interest. Everything we teach and talk about, the buy at the end of the day, the 200-point buy, was stinking beautiful. It was perfect, to say the least. 7 seconds left. Also, please note the ATR right now is starting 2.5 times larger than what we've seen in the last probably 4 or 5 weeks. So if you're trying to take a larger size, I would size down because the move is already larger. The ATR existing prior to opening bell was already substantially larger. So let's see what we get. 5 minute range. Obviously, we're nothing but bullish. I said what, 5, 6, 960s. Hold on. 962s. I don't think they're going to make the sell easy. 962s. That's 50 points. Is my miss. I would be very apprehensive just to take the first, interest on that sell because they're going to trap a whole bunch of sellers. Everybody wants to sell the 500-point move up. And it might work. Like this might be the time that it works, but I want to be careful. Yesterday's loss was not fun. Like I handled it well mentally, like, and I've really been tracking that, but uh, it was too big of a loss given the size of the move. Like it was just too big. 5 minute, we're still sticking above everything. Happy Take Profit Thursday. Good morning. Good morning. Obviously, so we've got a couple of strategies in play, guys. We've got inside out, which is a candle formation. Remember, we don't take them blind. We don't bid blind levels, at least not here. I know a lot of people do. You're taking them at areas of interest, at levels that you find interesting. So that could be your quarter points, your pivot points, your what I call, my supply demand, if you will, half Fibonacci measurements, whatever you want to use, whatever level you think is significant. And of course, with the direction. So we're not bidding in blind. So you got an inside out IOU and or breakout there. You've also got the orb. I didn't create it. Like we just created the system and a whole bunch of just customizations to it. Great strategy. There's an edge there. There's definitely an edge. So you can wait until after we break out of this 5 minute range. You can take it on candle close. So once it touches, okay, that's an entry. You can wait till the candle closes. That's an entry. You can even wait to the first group of value gap outside of it. That's an entry, right? You got a lot of options here. And that's just on breakout. You also have what I have on my screen right now, which is this moving average cloud, which is kind of a version of what we call JGS. Really, it's just a melody of moving averages, if you think about it, in conjunction with an oscillator. That's all it is. It's nothing too fancy. Definitely some indecision. This isn't in, so you see these little faint lines? These are the IOUs. Let's see. Doji, we like it. I just don't want to be the meat. I don't want to be the trap. Just don't want to. I've got no trades on the day. Yesterday I was blessed enough to kind of come back right for that buy time, which worked out perfectly. Got back to break even plus some, which was, if you think about it, again, a substantial move. Did not double size to achieve it. It was just a smaller stop and a larger risk to reward trade. So worked out great. And now here we are. Inside candle has 30 seconds left. We're still inside the 5 minute range. I want to sell it, but man, it'd be like gamble with one micro, because that's what it is. It's going to be a gamble. $9.25s and holding.
Yeah, I think we would need a very strong, very, very strong 1 hour candle close to look for it to potentially go back down further. As far as the way it's looking, it's showing nothing really but bullish to me, unless it pulls back into range. But I think we have more of a chance of going up than down right now based off how it looks long term
That's what
for the day.
that's that sell. So this is a valid entry. I'm not taking this, guys. It's just going to be a little bit too quick than what I can mirror, but just to show you what that would look like. Actually, I don't know where the other one is, but we're not staying there. So this will paint as a sell. I'm not taking this sell. It's going to be too close, too tight. And I feel like they're going to trap the sellers. With the 500-point move up, I don't think they're going to give us an easy 50 or 100 points down that we can kind of trade, casually and calm without, high blood pressure. Not to say we might not get a nice 40 to 60 something point grab down, but I just think that they're going to push this down and then shoot it up to swing out all those people and have the trap. So this is your IOU setting up. This candle hasn't closed. So you'll notice technically you could have got in there at the 901s based off of the first. This is a 3-part strategy. Okay. That's 901s and you would have been out already. Then once this candle kind of confirmed and got below here, you could got it there at the 893s. That's kind of beautiful. That's 20 points right there. So it's two different entries. I'm not taking them, but just so you guys can see it. Great valid trade idea. The 2-to-1 on that would, that's 74 points. I guess you could get the 50 to 70 points because the ATR is also was a little bigger prior too, but I'm not trying to be lunch meat today. Just don't want to. If you were taking the IOU, you've already hit your 2-to-1. If you're taking the inside out, you're not quite at the 2-to-1. You're not even at the 1-to-1. I think that'd be like here. Those little faint lines, that's another IOU setting up. God, I want to play with that. I mean, I could take one micro on my Project X that I don't have to like micromanage and like worry about this disconnecting or this, switching because I can just let it run, take the stop out if it hits. I think it's going to give it to us. Hold on. 820s, that's going to be a great area. We have the 4-hour average low, then 800s. This is going to be expensive. There we go. We've got 44 seconds. You broke again. You could even just trade by candle. You've got a JGS entry, fair and square. You've now got your breakout entry, fair and square. Easy peasy. You've broke out and you're retested. So you've got 3 reasons now to enter. But I'm not entering. And that's the problem with a move that big. They're probably going to give us the sell just because people like me are going to be like, no, I'm not risking this one. I'll just sell just fine. Let's see. One trade idea. Not mirroring, still flat, just being patient. I'm just not trying to be lunch meat.
There's always no harm in waiting for the first 15 minutes to play out and then seeing where you can get in. I know sometimes it gets difficult too because you, especially with Nasdaq, you feel like you might miss the move, in the first few minutes or whatever the case may be if the volatility is there. But as far as like confirmation or being on the safer side, etc., 15-minute wait is not a bad idea or a bad look.
It's really not like, and I'm not usually, just so anybody's new tuning in or like if whatever, like I'm not the person who's like super apprehensive or waits for the 15-minute, but on a 500-point move up yesterday, we took out levels low. We've got this huge overnight gap. Like the best case scenario is we've come down because that's going to be a nice gap. Just so you guys see what that looks like. That's huge. Gosh, that's 610s. If we only retest 30% of this 500-point move, it's going to be a lot of points. Where's my measuring stick at? Hold on. $300. I just don't know yet. Just not in love. I got an 890, 893s. You would have hit your, 1-to-1-ish. I would have to measure it to be exact. But on your IOU, you would have hit plenty of an ATR. On breakout, you would be in trouble now because you're retesting 50%. JGS, depending on if your entry was here or here, like if you're waiting more for the close outside, if you're taking it on break, you would have made, I don't know, 50 points. Just kind of showing you that these are the same strategies we talk about over and over. Actual inside out, probably about take profit 1. That's 893, 30 points. So 94s. That's 30 points. Yeah, you would have hit take profit 1. So 1 to 1. I like that retest. I like that retest. That was a nice confirmation. Feeling back at that 50% was a nice confirmation. Elijah, are you still holding? I think we've had such tricky price action too that on a day like where it's super smooth and clean, you start to second guess it. So we start to see tricky behavior where it doesn't exist. So like none of this has been tricky just yet, but I'm sure it feels tricky. No, I closed at 1K on the challenge. Shoot. 1 mini or 2 minis? How are you making so much on that trade? Mini. That's why. That's incredible. That is incredible. Well, why do you do the 50K accounts if you don't mind me asking? Especially with Apex, because you have to pay that stupid activation fee anyways. I feel like particularly with Apex, dollar for dollar, if I was gonna get big accounts anywhere, I'd do it at Apex because get them when they're on sale 19 or 30 bucks, and then you have the activation fee, which is like whatever it is, 60 or 80 or 120, depending on their promo at the time. It just makes more sense to me because if I had to buy a 150K account somewhere else, it's gonna be 200 or 300. On Apex, it's gonna be 150-ish. And you have so much more room. We're just literally barcoding. We're going nowhere. Lots of 10, 20 point scalps here, but we're going nowhere. This one took me, this one that I just got is 100K. I'll buy 100Ks from now on. I don't think they costed the same. Yeah, well, the activation fee, I think lately their promos have been their promo for like activation fee is a little bit cheaper on like the 25, 50, and 100K, and then the other accounts are a little bit more on the activation fee. But dollar for dollar, yeah, just makes sense to me. And I'm actually surprised. I'm all the way up to I'd have to look again, but it's going on 30 days now, which is a big deal. Okay. Like given the amount of glitches and the other things too, because remember last week I had a nice little tech hack week. Given everything, the fact that I still have that many accounts for almost a month of a trading month, so figure that's a long time. That's 30 to 45 days, give or take, because remember there's holidays. That's not bad. That's the longest I've ever had for Apex.
The trailing drawdown to that 150K is very advantageous to give you a little bit more leeway to deal with trailing drawdown and having some off days and not completely being in a sort of a corner as far as managing your count.
That I honestly, Jonathan, I like them because think about it. When if I'm trying to grow them real quick, I can do 1 mini. Otherwise, I can do 3 micros and even enter in a couple of times. I'm still not going to mess up any of the rules for the most part. Now, there's going to be the anomaly days, but some of those accounts have survived 2 tech glitches that costed me a lot of other accounts because the buffer was just you had room, and the more you size down, that's all I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make it to where I'm buying less accounts. Like it's not even the payouts. I'm getting payouts. I have another one coming in from Lucid today. Apex takes, I think they take the longest to actually get paid, to be honest. But I'm getting paid from all these firms, but I don't want to keep buying accounts. Like I know that's the cycle and that's the process for all of us. Here's that buy. Boom. And that's why I didn't want to be in that trade. And well, see, I only get to say that because this is how it's working out, but I just don't think they're going to make that sell easy. there's too many people who are going to quadruple down on this sell. But anyways, I don't want to keep buying accounts. Like every time I get a payout, and I'm not maxed out on accounts everywhere. I'm not still, because I didn't want to have 5 and 5 and 10 and 8 and whatever accounts with every one of these firms. I wanted to have 1 or 2 prove that I could get a payout with them. And then when and if I get the payout, I can buy another one and just add another one, and kind of doing it a little slower. The only reason I have so many accounts is because Apex has so many. Otherwise, I'm not maxed out on all the accounts. Most of them I have 3 at the most. But as I've got more payouts now, I've got 5 on Legends and Lucid and Take Profit Trader. I'm just doing the dang thing. This one, I just got 100K. I'm being patient, guys. I would rather be patient. Again, this was for just to break down the concepts, because everyone keeps asking what strategy and how we're finding this. There are several different strategies. JGS is in play here or here, depending on what rules you're following. Breakout is in play here or here. Let me move out of the way, depending on what rules you're following. In most cases, this one, 80s to here, technically is a 30-point drop if you would have taken on touch. Would have taken it on break, not that much of a difference, and just gone for 20 points. Otherwise, this probably maybe, I can't even say if it hit 50% of that range. Hold on. Here we go. Let me do this. But we've got JGS. We've got, I think it hit 50%. I just want to see because I can't see it. It'll load up in a second. So JGS is 1. You've got 2 different versions of an entry there, depending on which rules you're following. Breakout is 2. You've got 2 different entries there, depending on what rules you're following. Inside out, you've got 1 confirmed, which would have had you enter here on the confirmation. But on this candle, you had an IOU. So that's 1 entry would have hit both take profits for a 2-to-1. This one would have hit a 1-to-1. All of those are valid, made some kind of trades, like not necessarily broke the bank or got the great risk reward, but just going for a basic risk to reward. Oh, I know why it's not going to extend. It's not going to change. We've got our 15-minute range. With a nice wick. Like that's hard to want to buy into. 5 minutes got a nice little double top forming. And I like how this technically swept that. Just, I don't even know if it swept it by a point, like maybe barely a point. Yeah, that's not enough for me. But it is, it's technically looking like a, yeah, I'm not super interested in that. Let's see what ES. ES is looking a little bit more bullish, but we're up less on the day. YM is looking pretty comparable. I do want to look at this. Same direction. This is going nowhere. Technically, we're making mildly higher highs, but it's literally going nowhere. So same direction on that one. It's saying no, thank you. Let's add it next to the next one. Hold on. For the government bonds. I don't know, that's not loading. If you were really dead set on a sell, 897s, that's a 50-point stop. Even a 1-to-1, just to kind of come down, take out yesterday's closing highs. I mean, that's not a bad trade. That's a 2-to-1 technically. So, I mean, I think the probabilities would be good, but it's just, I'm not seeing the big picture. Maybe we trap the buyers. I don't know if 1 point is enough to trap the buyers. Well, that's silly. There she goes. She's trying. A lot more conviction in that candle, but it's not closed yet, so. Eight 863s right now. That's a great trade. There she goes. Now she's losing it. Beautiful. 30 seconds left. We've got our 15-minute candle. We've now touched on the outside of both sides. But we could very easily range in this 100-point opening range, whatever. If you're looking for the sell, this is where it's going to be sitting. I think we're going to get a bounce though. I think it's going to give us, I mean, that's not nothing. That's 40 points if even entering down here. Again, that would have been a great spot to enter right there. JGS, breakout, you had your inside IOU forming, multiple strategies kind of confirming. That gives you more room, but we're going to get a bounce. I just don't think they're going to give it to us that easy. Like the retest. That's 250 points to kind of close that gap. Which on the day, I mean, that would be a great setup. Hide indicators. Think about it. If on the day, let me go to my path tool. So if we come down in here, even if we close this, that's a 250-point move. We'd have to close above. In order for us to close as a bullish candle, all we have to do is close above. Eight. 587s. And we would still be bullish. I'm willing to bet a lot of people just got their butt handed to them with that pop up.
I'll probably be looking for 5-minute and 15-minute closes today because I got in that 5-minute actually on the buy. I was thinking we're gonna, if we got some momentum, it was gonna happen there. And then as soon as it rejected, like right away, and couldn't even get the momentum back up, I got out and just said, let me wait till it actually like closes solidly, a solid at least 5-minute close over that previous high. So it's sort of like range bound on the lower time frames right now. And they're just getting people who are entering in with size on a smaller frame going back and forth. So just waiting for a little bit more definitive direction.
That 100%. Well, yesterday, well, this is a good time. This is speculation. Like I said, there's no big trade here. This is the 79% of the bigger move to the downside. We have a couple of imbalances if we put on fair value gaps or whatever. You'll notice we're making slightly lower highs. So as long as we're staying below this, any next high is still fine, which still gives us a lot of stinking room. Okay, that's 70 points of room. We haven't hit that 962s, which I still think we're gonna hit the 962s before we get any flush down. Like 100%. It doesn't mean it's gonna happen. It just means I think it's very likely to hit the 962s before we go down. That's just my opinion. Now on the flip side, we could also come down to 806, get all the sellers involved, and get the bigger picture moves. Get all the sellers involved there at the 806s, 8 here, get them really thinking we're going to sell and then pop up. So it's just not pretty. It's not very pretty. But here, great time to go break up yesterday. I don't, and then let me look at it. I analyzed the trade after class because I'm doing that a lot better. Like I'm trying to do trade replays. Again, it's easier to do when you're taking less trades. If I took 50 trades, I can't analyze them all because I can't see them clearly or think clearly if I'm being honest. Again, I didn't take this sell down because I was not looking for as big of a move, but I saw the healthy points. It was again 75 points. That's not nothing. That was plenty of points. So I think the first thing I could have done better was trusted my analysis, knowing that we were moving down, okay? And we would overshoot that low by at least 20 to 30 points. It was a great setup. So I think the first thing I could have done was taken this, which again would have made me break even by here, give or take, right? This right here though, and this is a 5-minute view, I was reasonably patient. So I think we had all the way into here is where I finally got knocked out. I could have waited for this bigger move. So on the more 5-minute, again, that them smaller time frames can be trapping. I think we had this nice break. I should have waited for this to end my first entry. Because if this was my first entry, I would not have had to either way, right? So let's just work my thought process backwards. Number one. Number two, my 25 and 50K accounts, because I have them grouped like that, more accurately, they're not by account size, they're by how much drawdown I have. So for example, if the 50K drawdown has a $1,000 trailing, like a lockout or something, or maybe that account is down, I don't put that in the 50K accounts. I put that with the 25K accounts. For example, I have a 150K account that got locked out yesterday that I'm now trading with my 50K bounces because it has less drawdown room, right? So anyways, on my other accounts, I had the tighter entry. My 50Ks, Apex logged me out again. You guys saw the logging in and logging out. So my entry was like way the heck up here, right? When that happened and we started to come down, I could have made the decision to say, no, let me wait, let me close. By the time this candle closed, I could have said, wait. This candle, of course, you start to get the wick, and now I'm thinking we've just filled this imbalance, this fair value gap. This one closing bullish was really, really exciting. So I don't hate the trade. It was against the trend. I failed to take the trade that I did see, and I saw it fair and square. I just didn't think there was enough room. 75 points is definitely enough room. Stupid. Sorry, stupid. I'm stupid sometimes too. Andrew, I'm with you. I can't keep going with all these losses. Andrew, let's talk about it. Like, I'm not taking a trade anyway, so it'll give us something better to do than forcing a trade. What we're trying to do, buy or sell? If you're open to it. If not, I get it, because sometimes we're in a mode. If you're open to it, what we're trying to do. And number two, what size we're using. I think the best thing you can do is size down, both selling the bottom and buying the top. That sucks. I get it. Why? Are you trying to bid levels or playing a range? Are you trying to like see the range and just buy and sell into it? Because I mean, that's not a bad strategy if you have rules to it. If I have MNQ on what account size? That's a lot. Look, I'm not claiming to be the expert. And look, to tell you the truth, we can go past a 50K challenge with the mini any day. Like we can go do it. But the goal here is not that. The goal here is to maintain the account. So this is what I'm working on. Like, not to say you have to follow it, but if I only have $2,500 of drawdown, and remember those, even the Apex, which has the highest, only has $2,500 of drawdown, the max amount of micros should be 2 for me, which means no given day, even if I took 2 trades and doubled in, okay, so I'm giving myself plenty of room here. She's trying to sell down a little bit. Sorry, I'm not gonna be distracted. This is what I'm working on, and I think it helps a lot. Can I go put more minis on? Yeah, Probably make six figures in a day, at least on paper. Yep. But it's not worth it, especially with the PA accounts. The only goal with the PA accounts is to keep them and to not spend more. So if that's the goal, especially if it's a PA account, so I would do this for all accounts, and then as a general rule, okay, I would do half size for fundeds. So especially if it's a new funded or like right after a payout, but because you know all that stuff fluctuates, right? It makes it to where your drawdown's a little bit less right after a payout. If it's a new funded, I would do half size for funded, at least until you're past a buffer, at least until you've got some days. So I don't know if that helps or not, but this has helped me. I know in your mind you're probably thinking 5 micros or 2 micros is not enough for a 50K account, but and I know you're trading ranges, so your stop losses are a little smaller, I'm guessing, by what you're saying, at least for today. But for me, I've got to start from scratch, one account and build. One account's a lot. That's $4 grand a month you can make. And that's technically you can make a little more if all the stars and moons and stripes align, but I think 1 to 2 payouts is probably pretty average with Apex because on a calendar day, like if there's 30 days here, you have 8 trading days, which is pretty much 2 whole weeks, because remember, there's some days that are daying. And then you also have, oh, they're going to send you a 10-day warning or this and that, or like the buffer and this and that. So I feel like 1 to 2 payouts. 0 payouts. How many accounts are you on? And how many days did you have them? 150 evals. Okay. Well, if you've been doing it for 2 years and you've only used, and I know I said only like a complete psychopath, I'm really sorry, but you've only used the 150 evals in 2 years, that means you're not doing as fast, like 20 accounts at a time. So that's awesome. A lot of people are hitting that in a month or two, which is, I know, insane, but that's not bad. How many days did you have the PA account? Well, I've had these for 30 days. That's impressive, honestly. Were, were, were they in the green? Took a couple big losses in the past 3 weeks, so they were already kind of down. Honestly, I know it doesn't feel like it because you don't have the paycheck, but 30 days, you've got to be doing some things right. So like the top 3 advisable things is a size down. And I know it's not what we want to do because we think we're going to get paid faster. But remember to go replenish those 20 accounts. That's $1,300 with activation fees ish. I don't know exactly. The promos are always changing. So by not having to buy new ones this month, you've made essentially $1,300. So start treating it like, I don't care if we have to be so goofy that we print out checks from the internet and be like, I paid myself $1,500 by not buying new emails this month. Ta-da! And put it on your wall. Because I wish people could see that a penny saved is a penny earned, right? So that's number 1 is size down. Number 2, let's talk about your strategy. And then number 3, it's rules. So once we have some rules and following them, it's muscle memory. And you're still going to be human some days, but like, for example, how many trades are you taking in a day? I'd like to see this trade.
I don't know if you would agree with this or not, too, Jenny, but for his particular situation, I don't. I'm not sure I would go the Apex route. This is just my opinion, and Jenny, you can rebut if you feel differently. But the reason is that when you're already struggling, trying to get through the evals, that's tough enough. Just trading the prop firms, trying to get that, but having to also deal with the trailing drawdown, I'd probably focus on one account on another firm that has like rules that work a little bit more towards your favor of fasten the evaluation, then getting that payout under your belt, and then maybe revisiting Apex. Because even if you have a really good month and you've done well, if you get to trailing drawdown, it's just mentally, it's a whole different thing having to deal with that because you could be up, But then if you technically have taken a loss and you're just down 200, but now you're below your buffer, you feel like you're behind and you keep trying to attach. So it takes a lot of discipline to deal with trailing drawdown.
You know what? I totally agree. I think that's great advice, Jonathan. I love you. I'm grateful for you. Like what Jonathan, the only reason, full disclaimer for anybody listening, the only reason I'm messing with Apex right now is because I am a very good trader. And full transparency, I have the funds to do this. Okay. Honest to God, for anybody listening, you and anybody else, that can be your unicorn. And maintain one account with them. By all means, maintain one account with them for now. Having said that, like Lucid, use code 6FTC on all these, by the way. Lucid, it's very easy. I think you can pay more with most of these firms to pass in a day, but I would highly recommend you don't. Okay. I know it seems dumb, but don't. Okay. Don't do it. Practice the art of getting $400 a day. Okay. The art of getting $500 a day. You don't have to max it out just because it's a certain account size. Like we don't have to do that. But Lucid is great. Funding ticks, I would totally recommend funding ticks. I was amazed at them and how easy they were to pass, but they've implemented some new rules that I think are a little janky. Hopefully that was the last of them. But funding ticks also, it's a cheaper buy-in all in. I'm talking with activation. And here's the big part. Ready? I think you're going to get a payout if you do these things. Several of these firms I'm getting ready to mention don't require a buffer in funded. It changes the game entirely. So like Lucid doesn't require the same buffer. Funding ticks doesn't require the same buffer. Take profit trader does, you have to hold that in there. Funded next doesn't. Funded next, I don't have a 6FTC code, but it is in my link tree. Funded next also very, very easy to get a payout because once you've built, and if you can hold your funded account for 30 days, I know you don't feel like it right now, but you're already 10 times better than most people. And I know it doesn't feel like it. Like that song that I played at the beginning of class, if you need some hope, you can borrow mine. I'll put it in the chat. It's a good song. You can borrow my faith right now. But if you pick any of these other ones, I would try Lucid, Funding Ticks, or Funded Next as my go-tos. We're getting it, guys. Try those three. And again, just and honestly, pick one. Don't overwhelm yourself. And if you have to, because you're used to it, do 2 accounts. Okay. That's fine. Pick one of those and do 2 accounts. I've got PAs with them too. You didn't blow them today, did you? I've got. Wait, you've got PAs with which one? No drawdown left now, maybe. Okay, so you're at 1 micro. Cool. You can flip a $300 account. Ask me how I know. It's gonna suck. It's gonna suck so much, but you can do it. You gotta wait for your move though. Like you can. You get 1 micro. If you're wrong, stop out immediately. Okay. You basically, well, 300 actually you have room. If you had like 80 or 50, you'd have to stop out immediately. 300 you can actually let it play out a little bit, but if you literally you're trying to buy, hey, if you're really looking for this sell, you're waiting for this to pull up. The second it turns bearish, you're selling, you're going to keep trailing down, trailing down, trailing down. Hopefully you capture half of that. And you do that over and over again. You will build it up. But having to do the work to save the account, funding ticks, funded next, and Lucid, dude, you're doing it. How are you copying in them all? Replicanto. Okay. Nice. I've gotten into Trader up because I didn't like Replicanto, so you're already cooler than me because I tell you what, I couldn't make Replicanto love me back. I tried that one a lot. A lot, a lot. But I'm not just blowing smoke. I'm not just being kind to you. I'm telling you the truth. If you can hold these accounts for 30 days, you are already way farther than you think you are. You're really close to the edge. But you probably need to size down, okay, by a decent amount. You probably need to discipline. We all have tilt. I wish I didn't have the gremlin who lived in me, but I do. I'm human too. Most most of the time, we should not be taking 10 trades. The idea of being a trader is to have financial freedom. And hey, I've taken my couple of trades. I'm done working. It's the one industry that working more is not going to pay you more. Right? It's going to pay you less most often. But you don't have to follow this plan, but you can make your own even. This is based off of about 1 micro for every 1,500. And the reason I put this at 3,000 is because, as you know, funding ticks, funded next, whatever, most of them have 2,000 or $2,500. So this shows me that even at those 50K accounts that I think can afford so much more, really, they're not there. If I'm trading by size, even the 50K accounts technically aren't there. The 4,500 for the 150K accounts are technically there. Hey, Elle. Yep, it's recorded. We haven't taken a trade. It's choppy. There were a few opportunities to get between 20 and 50 points, though. And I'm pointing them out for myself and for others, but I haven't taken a trade. I'm flat on the day. I told myself yesterday that it was okay to have a no trade day, and I didn't do it. Today I might. We'll see. Pray for me. So pray for me, because I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. I like this. But honestly, if there's anything you want to talk about, Andrew, like I'm here, let's do it. Like let's hang out. For everybody else, while we're looking, I've got no indicators on. We know this is 79% of this larger, most recent wave. We know there's an overnight gap. We know we fulfilled this gap and this gap already. Beautiful. There's a lot of little 10, 20 point scalps, but for how I'm trading right now, it's not really worth me trying to go for those 10 to 20 points unless I'm going to go copy trade on Tradeovate, which I'm not going to go set all that up for all these firms. I do think 500 point move overnight. I'd like to see us get into here, but we're holding this level, guys. We're holding it. We are kind of edging down, which is just looking like a flag. Since we're not selling, I think they're going to pop us up. If anything, I'd be looking for the pop-up buys, which is completely against everything in my nature, but like everything right now. Because why would they let it come all the way down here to let people buy the better price for the people who are smarter? I think they want to keep tricking all the sellers, and they might trick them a little bit further down before they pop up. Otherwise, I'm still looking to kind of take out this 860s, well, 960s. And then if we're staying above, cool. And if not, we're staying below, I would sell those levels. Andrew, what's your longest standing account with funding ticks or Lucid or funded next? Because I think if you size down, you are going to find your payout. You can get a payout there. But you've got to size down. You've got to say, I'm only allowed to take X amount of entries in a day. I want to hear from you like in 30 to 45 days and saying, hey, girl, I got my first payout. And it's going to make me cry tears of joy. I'm not kidding you. Because I think you can do it. I very humbly told you my longest account with Apex is still less than 30 days. And I'm not fibbing to you. Apex has been my pain in the butt. So you're doing it. That just means the tilt and the other part is what's beating you up. Did you do a top-down analysis on the call? I'll watch the recording, but if not, could you? Yeah. Yes, Elle. Let's do top-down analysis. I'm going to go to MNQ because we've already got some stuff on this just to do it fresh. So, and this, actually, why is it being such a pain in the butt? Hold on. I think they're going to try to buy it. I'm going to stop share for a second. Hold on. Bear with me. I'm just going to close out that whole window because it's being mean to me. It's being mean. Trading view. Oh, I think they're going to try to pop up. Give me a second. Let me make sure it's all loading because it wasn't loaded. There we go. We fixed it. I got to log back in. Sign in to Trading View. Still no follow through, guys. Today's a good day for us to be patient. And not every day do we have it. Some days this is the day where I would be stupid. I'm just as human as every single other person, I promise. I sure wish I wasn't, but I am. I sure wish I wasn't sometimes. No, I am grateful, actually. I am grateful that I am. Okay, all indicators off. So the first thing I talked about was the daily time frame, where we were looking like, I'll just tell you all the things that I see. The potential of having a true inside candle on the daily. Now, granted, as you can see, I'm gonna have to go over here. We did break above that, so we no longer have the inside. That was going to be really cool. I was kind of excited to see that. As you know, on the daily, it's not going to happen too often. If we closed with a big wick, I would love to see this kind of flush down. This is the daily, so we know we still have a remaining imbalance. And if I go to the 4-hour time frame, just so you can see it, and I go to extended trading hours or regular trading hours, there's still gaps to the upside. But it's my hypothesis that we're not going to close this until we're really moving up. Now, can we close this first and then all the way down here? Technically, yes. But the likeliness first is that we kind of finish closing out these gaps before we continue long-term up. So we're forming this almost daily wedge pattern. Look at this 4-hour kind of, we are making higher highs, but not nearly as much, right? We're barely stair stepping this anymore. Like the highs are not getting much higher and we're still below here. So daily and 4-hour daily-ish, daily 4-hour-ish, these are imbalances, aka regular trading range gaps. We have another huge one now here, which means the entire price action from today is a huge regular trading range gap. Do they have to fail immediately? Absolutely not. But now that we know we've got these huge areas in both directions, seeing how this is 1,500 points away, it's probably going to be one of those news catalyst 1,200 point drop or something that is almost unpredictable to truly fill this. I mean, it's very likely impossible. This one right here is what, 700 points away, and again, still has not been filled. Still has not been filled. And this is a 50% of one of those months. So I really, really am looking at all these keys levels to see how price works. Today, this candle is appearing bearish, mildly, obviously, but it is bearish. So you can see where those gaps are by hitting the regular trading range. But now back to electronic trading range hours, still in the 4-hour. Here's where we're sitting. We're still respecting this trend line by a lot. This little wick was looking like we were going to try to break it, but we didn't. So now, if we know that this was not enough to break us through, I'm thinking we sweep these highs, potentially filling this gap before we go down, because this one's much closer, right? Just the law of magnetism, if you will. If this one is remember, that's a regular trading range gap, that's going to put us at the 26,000s. We talked about this on the call the other day. My areas beyond that are 26,400s are my levels. Hold on. 26,236. And I can draw a white line just so we have it on screen and we can have that as part of our analysis. 20. Right here is going to be our weekly high. Today, we've also got 136s, but this is our area of interest all the way up there into the 400s. So I cannot wait to see how this plays out. If we're sweeping this, I would be trying to tap the weekly level before we come all the way down anywhere in this window, which isn't that many points if you look at it. It's really not. To swing this and look at these highs, still making slightly higher highs. So that's on the 4-hour. But now as we start to move our way down, we're on the 1-hour right here. We've really hated this range. This was, again, all it was an imbalance, but we've not liked it for quite a while. We come anywhere near it and we just shoot back off, which is why I'm sure everyone's trying to sell. One of the many reasons why everyone wants to sell today. We've come into this level and just sold. So, but we're not being able to be pushed down today. So we'll see. Hourly time frame, we already know what our key targets are. We're going to finish filling this gap, which is going to put us at the 26,880s. So 26,080s-ish, not 880s, but 80s. Other than that, that's on the bigger time frame. I'm going to go down one more time frame now to the 30 and go here. So 30-minute time frame. We've got what I talked about at the beginning of class is this area right here. The 741s is halfway back, so 50% of the most recent leg. That's all this is. it also happens to be the pre-market low. So if we're getting the sell down today, that's 150 points to the downside, easy target, okay? That's what this level is here. This other gray box is 50% of the most recent leg. So I've never been into Fibonacci too much. I have kind of started learning about it and applying it a lot more. I have, however, always used some version of like 50% because I can see that with my naked eyes, right? I can see this move up and kind of guesstimate that this is 50%. Like, is it probably exactly 50? Probably not. But like, it's pretty close, right? So if we measure that, you're going to find the 50% somewhere in here on this bigger move. So I've always kind of used that halfway as a little bit a part of my areas of interest. So 50% of the larger move, 50% of the most recent, vice versa. Now we've got pre-market high, which we have really failed. We've wicked above it by a point or two. Yesterday's high, pre-market low, yesterday's low. Now we got this 500-point range today that I would love to see us kind of, if we break above. So my two thought processes are come down into here, potentially one more leg that's going to bring us all the way down. We are in extended trading range hours, and then pop back up, right? Or if that doesn't play out, just to kind of paint both of them, and we do. So let's say we kind of edge around a little and then come all the way up. I think force this white line right here is 962s. Well, I'm gonna have to look at that in just a second. I'll get to the exact number. I think we're gonna come take the rest of this level as an easy trade. And if we keep going on, our next target is there. This white line is 968s, 962s. I think we're gonna tap that, but we'll see. So we've got clear targets on both sides, but as you can see, we haven't went anywhere. Love the tweezer tops if we're trading it like that way. Love the tweezer tops. Like, I would consider putting that in other accounts, but right now we're just at this area where either of these analyses could play out, like either of them. We could just kind of continue to barcode all day after this 500-point move and wait till Friday to get the move. Actually, yeah, let me do this. Oh, it's not going to paint the regular trading sessions, is it? So figure, I think we're not breaking down. If we were going to come fill that gap right now, I think we would be coming to fill that gap. So hitting the higher targets before we come down to fill that gap. And remember, this gap isn't going to necessarily be the same gap or be present if we already take the highs and close end of day there. So it really depends on how today's candle closes. But we're not moving yet, so we're going nowhere. Today's a day I'm grateful to be patient, and I probably needed yesterday to make me be patient today. Yesterday, I took one trade and I broke that down too, the good, the bad, and the ugly, just as we're doing breakdowns. Here we go. I did not, full disclaimer, take this trade. I should have. I justified to myself that it was going to be the smaller move, right? Which I've been calling out bigger and smaller moves a lot more lately. So it wasn't worth taking it. The truth is, it was more than a 70-point move. I mean, that's 75. So in total, it was probably 100 points. I didn't take it because I didn't want the smaller move trying to mirror and manage all that stuff. So missed this great, perfect, smooth, easy, no drawdown trade. This one I bought, I could have done a lot better. I was on the 2-minute, 1-minute time frame and waited for the break, kind of almost in continuation. I'm not going to lie and say I waited for a retest because I don't think it was really counted. She's moving up. I want to buy it. So I got in and around here. My worst entries were a little higher because I'm mirroring this on 3 different sets of group trades. And then I averaged in as well here right before we kind of sold back down. So in total, it wasn't a horrible trade. And I was sized down so much that even a huge net loss doubled in did not blow any accounts. It costed the drawdown on, I think, 3 accounts in total, like that I couldn't get back to green because I couldn't afford it on the day. But otherwise, like, these were the 2 trades. This is more JGS, break of trend line. I think we had we had just kind of turned back to blue here, or green or whatever your colors are set to. So I was trying, but we bounced off that VWAP, which at the time was much closer, and we just rejected off. That should have been my telltale to just exit. There was quite a few things I could have done to exit and stayed with the trend too. So that's the big picture. And that's overall. So when we're trying to make a breakdown, like we're not trying to make a decision based off of what we definitely think is going to happen. We want to say, hey, both of these things could happen, and I'm ready for either. And right now, we look like they were trying to buy up, and then Chief came right back down. So that tells me I'm not playing with these jokers today. If this would have closed more aggressive, more full bodied, less wick to the upside, that would have been awesome. Three minutes left on this 5-minute candle. That would have been awesome if it would have just closed like a body, no bodies. Look at all those wicks to the downside though. Looking kind of trappy. Elle, you got any questions? Or what kind of analysis do you usually look at? And Andrew, I don't know if you're still on, but honestly, take a day or two. I want to see you get a payout with Lucid Funding Ticks or Funded Next. Take Profit Trader's easy too. It's a different kind of easy though. Man, we could have just buy the drops, just buy every single one of these drops to the downside. But the two lower ones, we're not getting close enough. 855s, use a 25-point stop. Yeah, that's awful. Awful, awful.
I could have one theme for this price action. It would be R. Kelly's Trapped in the Closet.
Okay. Well, we're gonna have to ask the team to make a short with that. R. Kelly's Trapped in the Closet, and just this price action sped up and slowed down. I also have 5 BAs with Blue Knox, 2 at okay. There you go. So trade them with one. Discipline yourself. I know you're thinking you probably have a lot of balance on that, but if we can be best friends, like unsolicited or hopefully good advice, but challenge yourself to you have a $3,500 balance. Only allow yourself 1 micro for a week or 2 just to build the muscle memory. And because you have a $3,500 balance, I wouldn't mind if you did the 2, okay? Because you justifiably have the risk, even with a 50-point stop loss, which remember, most of the time my stop loss is not 50 points, but I want to have enough room that if the market pops in one direction and there's anything going on, you can afford it, right? So I've never used Blue Knox to decide that. I don't know what their payouts are. Do they even have Tradeovate? Oh, they have Ninja though, huh? They have Ninja. Can you explain that risk management again? Oh, this one right here? Okay, so this is what I'm working on. Again, take it with your grain of salt. We might be getting the sell down, but I'm sitting on my hands, guys, for the most part. I'm gonna wait for clarity. We don't have it. After Project X. Let's talk risk management. So again, I don't complain. I don't claim to be an expert. I'm just working on fixing the problems that I bring to the table that are me. And size is definitely one of them. If I am trading this, like let's just say I'm trading 1 mini and I took 2 losses, right? And I know that maybe some of you guys are like, well, my stops aren't 50 points. Well, today the opening range was 100 points, right? To give you an idea. So the whole opening range was 100. This is not as big as we think it is. It feels like a lot because YouTube makes us think that 10 points and 20 points is normal, but 10 points and 20-point stop losses. I'm sorry, I'm going to start on this topic. We're going to start here. 10 points and 20 points is great if you're micro scalping, only going for 10 and 20 points. And some people, not to like talk smack or whatever, they're really good at it. Like, so do you, like, if you're good at it, by all means, you're buying the levels, you know your odds and you're disciplined and you're getting payouts, stick to what you know. I super support you. But for the vast majority of everybody else who are hanging on to this concept of 10, 20-point stops, when the truth is 10 points isn't going to, like, if you put a 10-point stop on this candle, it's not going to invalidate the buy. You would have got knocked out, you know what I'm saying? None of that invalidates your trade. So to me, stop loss should go out on principle, not where you want them, but where your trade idea is no longer valid. That's where stop losses go. So on that level, you can put this in whatever you want. This field is completely customizable. You can say, hey, look, he has a $3,500 buffer. Let's say his average stop loss is 30 points. Okay. And let's say he wants to do a mini. That's how much he's going to lose on the day if he took 2 losses, right? And he took 2 contracts. So if he does 1 contract, he's going to lose $1,200 on the day with a 30-point stop. So that's what it's not as easy as people think. So anyways, that's the customizable field. The field that I'm looking at is more the rest of this. So this whole chart is built off the principle of using 1 micro per $1,500. Okay. If you stick to one set of math, and again, we second guess ourselves, we do janky math, we go back and forth. Well, we say, hey, we have $500 above the buffer, so now I can double down, or now I can switch to a mini. I've done it. I'm sure others have done it, and it's a really dumb decision, right? We have to call a spade and stop making the same decisions that are costing us the problems, right? We have to stop making the wrong decisions so we can start making the right ones. On that principle, $1,500, 1 micro, is how much I will trade at a time. So that means all of my 25K accounts have between what? $1,000 and $1,500 worth of drawdown in general, which means I'm allowed 1 micro. Worst case, if I doubled down, and that's why I have the 2, assuming I took 2. So what if I doubled down on that trade? Because sometimes, I do want the room to be able to do that. And of course, to scale out helps a lot. That means on 2 micros, I'm still only losing $200, which means I can afford lots of days like that, right? On average, I'm not going to have that many days like that. So I can know the law of averages will pay out. 70% of the time I'm going to win. 30% is going to suck and I'm going to lose, but I can handle it because I know the numbers. I can afford that. Notice how tricky this area is. And honestly, I think that's where the 50K accounts gets you, is because they're at this area where they're really hard to plan risk for, because none of the firms that I know of start with $3,000 drawdown. All of them start with like 2,000, 2,500, and some of them on top of the 2,000 or 2,500 have this whole, what is it, like $1,000 daily loss limit, right? So you can't lose more than $1,000, which means that account should not be here. It should be here. Okay, that's my 2 cents. But anyways, 50K account means what? I have mine set to 2 micros. I'm trading 2 micros at a time. Worst case, if the range is tight enough or the price action is still right, I can take 2 of those, giving me 4 micros, knowing that on that balance, I'm still only going to lose about $400. Can you afford to lose $400 on your $2,500 drawdown? Yes, we can. Is that going to kill our trailing? And here's the other problem, right? Notice how this is so small and it's frustrating, but if you did this, you're not going to lose your trailing drawdown either, because that's where most of us are getting our butts handed to us. At least I'm speaking for myself. The trailing drawdown beats me to death. I can blow an account in the green. Very frustrating. But in order to fix that, this will fix that. So this has really fixed that for the most part. So here you go. These are the accounts I like the best from Apex. So the ones I'm holding on to the longest, which I'm very proud of. $4,500 is the starting drawdown, which means I have mine set to 3 micros. Okay. And I know if I want to take another position that's going to give me 6, my max loss is only going to be 600. That does not break the MAE rule. That does not break my trailing drawdown. And even if I took several days of that in a row, I'm not going to blow the account. Because what do you see? Like, what do we usually see? I'm going to use this screen just for conversation. Oh, I wish I had my TradeZella up right now. I don't. I'll pull it up. But when you see these people with these big winning streaks, what's one of the most common things we see? We see when the red comes, it also comes almost in a streak, doesn't it? And that's my opinion. So I will have this like super grand period that's like, I feel like I'm invincible and I might be Thor or Captain America or something. But when the red comes, it kind of comes in this way that it's like, it's almost like you feel like there's something wrong. And then sometimes it is. There's other aspects. There's markets or tariffs. There's whatever. But most there's tech stuff. When you have that janky, fast price action, that unpredictable barcoding, like what we're saying now, we're going back up. The tech stuff, it usually happens. Kind of law of averages all in the same week like this. You have this same period. So when we're planning for this, we need to plan not for, hey, I took one trade and won or lost. We need to plan for, I took one trade and I did this 3 bad days in a row. Can my account survive? Because if my plan doesn't plan for that, then our plan isn't good enough. And that's where I'm coming from. So I wrote this. It's still a work in progress. I'm kind of stupid excited about this too. Hold on, let me expand it for you guys a little bit. This field is also customizable, but figure you're making $300 a day on 10 accounts with an only 80% win rate. So even an 80% day win rate, which means you could lose a lot. That means you have 4 green days a week, 1 red every single week. That's $312,000 a year. At $500 a day, 10 accounts. Remember, 4 green days, 1 red every single week. That's still $500,000 a year. So I've been loving this. I'm still kind of playing with it to kind of figure out percentages, right? Because think about it, if we were trading our own capital, 0.5% on a 25K account is only $130. Like you can hit that easily. Notice what that is. Notice what the prop firms are doing with their rules. The more I think about it, they are tailored toward a very hedge fund mentality, but they're worded different. They're worded psychologically crazy. I don't know how to say that better. But 0.5% on your 50K account is only $275. So anyways, I'm building this out. It's not done. This one's janky. It shows you the actual percent on growth before you get your payout. And I realized that the 250 accounts and the 25K accounts are substantially better in general. And I'll have to explain why. This math isn't true to form because I didn't know how to change it to 2000. But technically the 25K accounts and the 250K accounts are better at the costs. But yeah, I have some accounts. I've had accounts that have had nearly $40,000 in buildup from Apex. I lost 2 of them, and then I lost 20 grand on 2 of them because I had 4 at the time. When the catastrophic thing happened, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks ago now. I needed a way to size for that, right? Because you don't realize your accounts can get this high. So a way to size for that, and it's never going to be exact either because most of us are using some kind of copiers, and none of the copiers have a perfect system where we can just type in, I want to trade 1 contract, I want to trade 2 contracts, I want to trade 4 contracts, I want to trade 5 contracts. They all have like a multiplier, okay, I think is one of the options, or quantity. And both of them have weaknesses or strengths. So since none of them are allowing us to do like a perfect system of 1, 2, or 3, what I'm doing is I take my master account, and if I have anywhere around this, I'm doing 1 contract, okay? Let's go. We're pushing up again. If on my 50K accounts, I put that at 2. And then on these accounts, I put this at 3. Now the accounts that I have that are sitting in this balance, I have some sitting here and a lot sitting in between here and here. What I'm doing is, wondering why that just dumped out, but I'm multiplying, how do I say this? My 3, so this is times 3, and then everything else is times 2 of this. And that's how I'm kind of accomplishing this. So again, I'm taking that amount of risk and sizing down even below that because it's funded, and sizing down even below that because technology and glitches and stuff. So is this spreadsheet in the group? This is not, like, if you guys don't mind it being a work in progress or have any Excel skills, I don't mind sharing it. Like, I am not an Excel genius. I'm just my ex used to laugh at me and called me because I treat it like a video game. So I'm still not good at it. Like, but I love them. They make me happy. It helps me figure out like my own thought processes. It is not a work in progress. I can give it to the team. I'll give it to our COO and see if she can't clean it up a little bit, lock some formulas, and then I
I
can
was
add.
going to ask you that, Jenny. Good morning. I'm sorry. I was going to ask that question if you could share this, and we can kind of maybe tailor it to our own likings. But I think this is awesome to be able. It kind of gives you visual of what you're trying to do even before you do it. So
That.
yeah, if you could,
Well,
please.
yes, sir. I will. Let me give it to the team and I'll see if she can't get it out in, like, we'll try to do 48, 30, 48, 72 hours. I gotta have
Of course.
somebody with eyes on it who can
Thank
clean
you.
it up better than me because I'm not proficient there. But check this out. Watch. If we if you want to know how many trades it'll take you to pass, obviously that's frustrating. But it's not as many as we think, right? To pass that $1,500 trade, that's 15 trades at 2 trades a day, that's 7 days. Okay. To here, look at what this is actually going to be. Even on these, like it doesn't take that much. And I have some other forms. Oh, how do I do that? Let me laugh. You guys can laugh at me now. Laugh at me. Where's the
This is awesome too, by the way, Jenny, because to be honest, I don't know how many, is it almost up to 2 years or maybe a little over a year now that we've been on the future side, and the prop firm specifically, as far as this group is concerned, and nobody that I've seen, no influencer or anybody is talking about this as far as with management and has broken it down and talked about longevity, because the way that Jenny has laid it out, it gives you the right way to sort of trade and the way that you should do trade. But I think what sort of messes us up is that, one, with the prop firms, when you're in the evaluation stage, you're not making any money on the accounts. So there's always that urge to want to rush the process so you can feel like you're trading for something that's actually real or valuable. But if you look at like a traditional, firm, if you're working with a firm or brokerage, you have to prove yourself before they give you live capital. So the evaluation stage, no matter how long it takes, you're proving yourself. You're making sure that you actually have a strategy and management that works, that's going to give you that longevity. So when you do transition to your live accounts or your funded accounts, it's the same process, same thing. And then the money will show, because they always say process over, the money, the dollar side on it. And then eventually the money will come. So this is definitely a really awesome thing that you put and laid out, Jenny. I screenshot it. Everybody else, even if she doesn't has to send out yet, you can take a screenshot of it, because the way that she laid it out and the management, I mean, for the most part, you should be managing that way, especially if you haven't had any payouts. I wouldn't really change much, and you can't trade lower than a micro anyhow. Um,
Yeah.
so just start off with a micro or whatever you want to do. It's up to you, but make sure you're it's proven. It gives you confidence, and then you can size up. Now, what other caveat too is that I know a lot of the prop firms do have monthly subscriptions. So if you all are worried about the time, you want to do this the right way, but you're worried about maybe the time frame, then you can go with what Jenny has recommended. Lucid is one of the ones that I do know that do not have any sort of reoccurring subscription fee. So you can, take your time in doing that if that's something that you're interested in.
But what Funded Next doesn't either, do they? I don't think. I think they have a new account that does. Their Bolt account does, but their other accounts didn't, as far as I know.
They might, I'm not sure.
But Jonathan just had a good point that we didn't mention here. Like, I'll tell you the things that are helping me. Number one, maybe we can print a blank check and put it in the group, and that will be the community that prints a blank check every month that says, I made by saving X amount of dollars by not blowing my accounts this month, because we don't celebrate that, right? We don't feel like that's YouTube worthy. And I get it. Like, we're all human here. I'm superhuman too. Like, but I think that's celebratory. I think that is, I don't know if that's the right word to use there. You can laugh at me later, but I think that's something worth
That's
celebrating,
right. It's something to celebrate,
right?
Jenny. And I
Like it,
concur with Jonathan. I concur totally.
like seriously, we saved $1,000 by not buying more challenges. So maybe we didn't get a payout as many as you, especially with Apex with the 8 days and then the 10-day thing that I went through recently. I'm like, wow, that turns out to be a lot of weeks, technically speaking. But it's just realizing I also didn't buy any new firms. Like I still have some that are from like one of the first huge promos that they had that are rollover, but I don't have that many active subscriptions. I'm not buying anymore. So that's something, right? To start celebrating that way. Start treating your evals like you would. And I can understand doing double size, okay, or like doing slightly more on your evals. But I don't want to be the promoter that promotes, hey, go pass it in a day, or hit the 750 exactly for take profit trader to make exactly 1,500 or whatever your target is for your account size. I don't think we should do that. I think we should treat our evals like practice. That is what they intended. And I know we're all hating on the prop firms. I have a love-hate relationship too. It's turning in a little bit more to a like as I get more payouts and as I get more comfortable and my own bone kind of grows, my own ability grows. But honestly, I don't think they're all bad, because think about it. You're buying, and I'm going to make a page like that that says for X amount of investment, okay, what we're doing is we're buying, okay, access to X amount of capital. So we have a choice. And because I've done both, I do understand. Now, again, we're not all in, but figure if I spent $3,000 please forgive my writing, to buy, I'm just going to guesstimate, 50K, and it doesn't sound like much, but hear me out. 50K worth of drawdown, not 50K accounts. I'm working with ish 50K worth of drawdown. If that drawdown is what I get to use, I don't get to use the $500,000 in funding or the 2 million in funding that it looks like. Again, that's the stuff that YouTube cares about. We in this group don't need to care about that. We have spent 3,000 on eval fees to buy 50K worth of room. That's what we've done. And if we start looking at that and saying, okay, so of that 50K that I actually have, we're looking for a percentage of growth, right? Because if we had a 50K account, that's what we'd be looking for, right? We'd only be looking for a percentage of growth. That percentage is not very high. It would be like 0.5%, okay, to 1% a day. And that's the most, especially if you're learning. You shouldn't be targeting more than that anyways. So this isn't as much as we think it is. That means on all the accounts combined, you would be trying to make $1,000, $500, right? That's it. 250 even, right? On all the accounts, if you were treating it like that. And obviously we're not. So you're technically closing out at 2 or 3% a day on available drawdown. And if you do this at the end of the month, you've spent 3,000 to withdraw. And at first it's going to suck, but to withdraw, let's just say 8,000. It only takes one payout with a couple of these firms to pay that back off. And then any other payout is what your paycheck is, right? We're starting to sell down now. It's 1046, 1050 algorithm. Anyways, the $8,000 pays it off, and now you've made $5,000 at the end of the month on your, because remember you had to break even. So on your time and your $3,000, you have profited 5,000 after all of that's said and done. And to start thinking about it like this, I think is going to change the way we do things. Because as a trader, I got that in the bag. Like trading, easy. The rules, not as easy. The navigations, I have a lot of valid excuses from Replicanto to Affordable Trading Tools to TradeSyncer to Quant.io to Traders Connect. Tried quite a few of them. The good, the bad, and the ugly. I still think there's a lot of potential. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing it. I don't think it's going to be easy. I think it's going to be a battle. And because I know I am no longer trying to get X amount of dollars this month. Instead, I'm trying to maintain the account and get a payout every month. That's it. If I can maintain the account. So the only way I can maintain the account, you guys, knowing all the things we know, knowing that today was a barcode day and now it's kind of tanking down and popping right back up, knowing that yesterday I took a loss, right? I need to be able to afford all three. And that's what I keep trying to, that's why I kept lowering this. Otherwise I was trading way too many minis by far. I need to be able to afford the losing day. That's an X, right? So that's a loss. We're going to have a losing day and still not blow. So whatever size this is, you need to know that if you took 2 or 3 trades and took a loss, can you afford that day? If the next day you had a tech thing, and let's say I think this is 2 times as large as this in my experience, or a couple of times, depending on if you're using what connectivity, I need to know that if these 2 happened back to back, it's not going to blow my account. So now when I'm choosing a size, I'm planning for this. And now I need to know, because I know I'm going to be in my feels. My head is not going to be in a good place. I can meditate. I can go to the sauna. I'm going to take a walk next to the ocean. I'm going to do yoga. I'm going to eat delicious food for dinner. I'm going to regulate to the best of my ability. And even then, Jared Tendler would say we have residual emotion, right? We have residual crap that comes into our heads, even when we don't think it does. Even for the most regulated and perfect human being among us. And I don't know about you, but I am far from perfect most days of my life. So this next day, sometimes I get that kind of baby grain. I'm going to make this a small arrow. Hold on, a very small arrow. I might get a baby green, but because all that residual psychology, I have found I often have yet one more red. And this is because of mindset. And like if I was going to break this down, this is going to be a great YouTube video if we ever turn this into something. But between the tech stuff, one actual loss, because losses are part of our system, add some kind of thing outside of your control that messes with your head. Even if we got a baby win, which is what I kind of feel like I do, I still have this like mindset residual stuff that I now have to pay the piper for. So I need to know that whatever plan I'm trading can afford 3 of these things happening in a row. And if my lot sizes can afford that, my contract sizes, then I know I'm sized right. And it's not about how much and how many days it takes is secondary. Everyone tries to plan for how many days. I think you should plan for this. Plan for this, not how many days. So that's huge to me. That's powerful stuff. I don't know if I discussed it very well, but again, this is huge because my mindset stuff, we're human. We're going to do that every time. I don't know if it's going to bite you on this day, but one day, it's going to be one day. It might be the day that like your wife comes in the room and yaps about something, or maybe you're somebody in your life was somebodying, right? Because we all have that. I don't know about you guys, but I still have that every day of my life. Why is it not working? And we love them. They're all great, amazing people. I wouldn't live my life without them, but something is going to trigger something in you, and you're going to have this mindset day. So you might get a couple of green in between of these, but I need to know that whatever I am experiencing, I can afford all three of those. And that's where my size is coming from. So just trying to plan for the worst and make it all work. So I will talk to the team about getting this cleaned up. We just bid the level that we talked about. So I will send this over with a good video to the team and see what we can add in. I want to add costs. This is powerful, but the math is wrong. I think that this is actually less than this, but I can't prove it yet until I get the formula right. But anyways, we talked about this level already once. So that's where we're at right now. We're at yesterday's high. Missed the sell. I'm okay with that. It wasn't giving us anything that we can confirm. 815s. Actually, no. I think I'm going to be patient. There's going to be a crap ton of people trying to buy here. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I'm thinking to myself and not yapping out loud. And I know that's my job on this call. So let me finish yapping out loud. Can we get the bounce here? Yes. Am I willing to bid this bounce right at the VWAP? No. The biggest reason why is because of this move. I don't know if this is big enough to kind of send us higher, this one. And not to say that it won't, but I would be looking for the bounce at this point. Do I want to sell here on the other side of the VWAP? We've now broken through and retested down to the 50%. Remember, this is the 50% of the largest down move, largest, most recent down move. That's what this is right here. And it's the pre-market low. I would much rather try to buy at this area or here than try to take this bounce buy. That's on the buy side. On the sell side, that's what we were looking for. If I wanted to sell, I would be selling all the way down into here, but the stop loss is not super great, and you're kind of selling at structure. So right now, I would be leaning more heavily toward the sell. Stop loss is not good. That's almost 100-point stop loss. Potentially about a 1-to-1, a 1.6, or 2.5 to 1. Like this would be the trade I would take, and then hope that this plays out. If I had to take a trade. Right now, I'm not in love with the market. I am flat on the day. I would try to show you on this call, this trade sinker thing, but we tried yesterday, it's going to take a long time. Well, let me find out. Let me see. I'm going to hit the P&L card. And in theory, it'll pop up all nice, like a website should work, but it does not work that fast. It does not. I hit it, and then maybe an hour later, it opens up. So right now, I am flat on the day. I've taken nothing. We're at the RTH low. We could get the bounce here, and we could, in all fairness. We're at the VWAP. Reasons to buy. Reasons to buy. Four hours at the 775s. Yeah, no. I don't see the buy just yet. This could be the bounce here, but I don't see it personally. So not in for the buy. I'm not in for the sell either. If I was looking for it analysis wise before we pop off, I'm not taking this, by the way. I'm just showing you. Sell potentially down to this is a less than the 1-to-1, 1.5 to 1, and a 2.25 to 1. Great potential trade with my big question mark here. So it's been a while since I used this on my little markups. Oh, I did it wrong. This is going to be like my question mark zone. Not that big of a question, but you guys get the idea. Like to see if we get into this area. I'm not just going to, again, bid these levels blind, but as we get down here, I want to start watching price action, knowing that we could close the gap, but seeing how much of New York we already wasted. we're at 10, so 11 o'clock. We already wasted a good amount in New York. So can this like flush down a lot of points? That's 800s, 200 points before the close of day and back up? Yes. I mean, we could. And if we don't, we're going to close with a big old wick on the upside. So that'll be interesting on the daily. Because we could close with that nice big wick. It's possible. If we come all the way down into here, that's going to be a big wick on the daily. If we come down and don't push back up before close of day. Better get into here. That's going to be like almost a hammer. So it's going to be interesting price action. I currently don't see the buy up. I know people are going to be bidding this level. There's definitely a little bit of support here. And we could get the bounce here. So, and because I'm not planning on sitting here for another 2 hours, I'm going to pop up, stretch my legs, clear my mind. Looking at this barcoding price action for that many hours makes me say, okay, I'll come back later. Hopefully I get my trade set up. Maybe not, maybe we'll see. But that's what I'm looking for on the day. Anybody got any questions, comments in the cloud setting? Yes, I will. JGS, Nabel, we have a lot of videos, and I know the team has got that put together. If not, in the public or members group, tag at 6FTC admin and ask for the playlist for JGS. That would be number one. Because if you want to learn this strategy as an evolutionary process, and I know that sounds like a lot, you would start at the beginning of that and kind of just keep going all the way across the growth of it, from where it started to all the good, the bad, and the ugly, to the weaknesses and the strengths. Like you would have it on while you're cooking your dinner kind of thing. And just there's so many hours worth of content there. But in short, JGS is literally just a melody of moving averages with an oscillator confirmation. That's it. And the majority of oscillator confirmations we used also were melodies of moving averages. So MACD, as you guys know, is a moving average, right? The settings, it originated with the 50, the 8, well, the 50, the 9, and the 3. I have cut that down not only in size for futures, but also in number. So instead of using 3 moving averages, I've got 2 now. Although the arrows that we painted on JGS, the actual indicator for MT5, only used the 8, well, the 9 and the 50. That's where the arrow came from on that little oscillator. Boom, that is a beautiful buy, and I didn't even see it, nor did I take it. Sorry. I didn't see it though. That was nice though. Anyways, I'm getting distracted. The numbers I'm using now, pretty simple, are, let's show them. You can decide your own, and I would highly encourage you, don't just listen to me. I would highly encourage you to play with it a little bit. So mine right now are the 5 and the 18 EMA. I, over the last probably 6 to 8 months, have played with multiple versions of SMAs and EMAs, all the way from like the 22s down to the 3s, the 8s, the 13s, just trying to get that pair. I still like the cloud function. I think I like it better than I like the double, right? Because you're not just using it as a cross, I'm using it as a cushion. So you don't have to use exactly these, but use something that your eyes see best. So just to show you on screen, I'm going to play around with the numbers so you can kind of get a feel. If I made this, let's say 24, watch how price reacts down here. So you can kind of see how now you're getting less fake outs for that sell side, right? But it's also a little less reactive for the move. If I put this all the way up at, I've used versions of 33 in my past here. Now you can kind of see, wait, you're not getting any fake outs, but again, you're much, much later to that move. And of course, this was slow price action, so that lateness doesn't look bad, but on other price action, it's going to look really bad. If I put this at 50, okay, that's about what it would look like. If we wanted to see the original, it would look more like this. Okay, I think I have 2 versions on right now, so I'd have to turn that off. There we go. So
Yeah,
we
Ms.
can,
Zhang, so this indicator also it comes with the breakout indicator, right? The cloud. So do you do your settings on that, or do you do the best cloud all MA?
I just had it on here because I think what we were teaching, a lot of this stuff is just for teaching moments, but I like this one right here. So now that we've messed that one up, we can kind of see this. that's back to this. I like the one that's on my breakout indicator, personally.
Okay. And on the breakout indicator, it's the same settings, the 9 and the 2.
You get to choose between EMA, SMA, whole, or weighted, and then yeah. So it looks a little bit different, but it is the same. So again, the whole moving average is something we've used over time. Wow, that's kind of different, right? You can decide, and I would highly encourage you to decide, because I know YouTube tries to make it seem like the 20 or the 18 or the 72 is super important. I honestly don't think any of them are. I think the 50, the reason why I had the 50 for all those years is because the banks use the 50, right? The 50-day moving average. To me, nowadays, the VWAP is kind of a good comparable-ish. It's not the same, but it kind of serves the purpose of the 50 for me, and that's what I use the VWAP for, is it kind of serves the purpose of the 50 for me. And I'm not saying it's the same thing. I'm just saying that's how I treat it and see it. So for you, pick, like, it doesn't have to be these numbers. I found that this was where I liked. I was really playing with the 20 a lot, versions of the 20. It's a little slower than I want it to be on some of the areas that I want a little bit fast, especially for futures. And since I'm not just using this on standalone, I think it's very, very helpful. So these are my settings. And remember, at the end of the day, just to simplify the concept, all it is moving averages, right? It's a double moving average. So now that we've defined that, I'm going to pull up, sadly, the version I had on here no longer works, and the team is going to be releasing one. I did have one here. Let's extend. Oh, there we go. It does work. So we do have a version of the MACD here. Okay. And then I have something else, which is a free indicator, which I kind of find pretty useful. It just kind of takes out some of this noise. But I've got the two oscillators up for just a second. I'm going to turn off inside out for just a second. Although I would definitely use it in conjunction if you want the whole truth. But here we go. Delete that. I didn't see that bounce, man. I said a lot of people are going to bid this level. Didn't see it, and they got bid beautifully, perfectly. Anyways, here we go. Obviously, this is a super clean move. So I'm going to try to find something that's not as clean. Let's go to some overnight action. Clean is easy. Clean is always going to be easy. But essentially, this is the 5-minute time frame. All we're doing is I'm waiting for price to be on the other side. If I'm trying to buy, I'm trying to be on the other side of the larger. If I'm trying to sell, I'm trying to be on the other side of the smaller, right? Everyone's brain works a little bit different. So you can wait for what we call the cross. You can wait for, hey, we know that this is the purple is the 18 in this case, and the green is the 5 in this case. So you can know that if you're buying, you're trying to be on the other side of the larger of the moving averages. If you're selling, you're trying to be on the other side of the technically larger too. But I kind of worded a little bit differently in my brain. So either way, first step, you want to be on the other side of the cloud. In this case, we'll call it the cloud. However you have that set up, you can choose. Please know that if you choose really large or small numbers, these things are not going to line up.
Basically, when it crosses.
Yeah, when it crosses. For me, the conditions are fairly simple. There's quite a few ways to take it. There's confluences is what I call them, or considerations, right? Confluence means it must get checked off. Consideration means I'm considering this in addition to, right? So I'm considering this as a topic versus I need this to confirm for sure. So I needed to confirm and close. That's number one. For me, I like it to continue. So if it closed here, I want price to continue in that direction for me to take the trade. So for example, I wouldn't be entering in if it closed here until we're continuing, which means I'm probably entering in at the 857s.
Okay.
So that's step one. Close. You'll notice because we sped this up, this fast MACD is no longer, early. On the 50 method that we used before, the fast MACD was early, right? This is no longer early because we sped up the numbers on our moving averages. So I also want to see one bar, okay, above on the fast MACD if you want to talk about the original strategy. So if I'm trying to buy, I want to be in the same direction as the purple line, depending on what version you have, or that slow for the bigger time frame, or if I'm looking for that kind of smaller scalp or counter trend, I need to see one bar close above on the fast MACD. Okay, so we're getting it here, but as you know, it's not going to be there. No matter how much we zoom in, we're starting to here, but this bar closes. We don't really get that cross until on this bar. So kind of everything is starting to line up, that perfect melody. This is going to be interesting. This is something it's free on TradingView. I kind of like it. I keep changing the color, but it keeps changing back. It's called the Chop Zone. I found it on Project X. I like it just because it's like a solid situation, and just I'm going to take your time and mine because I think it matters to my brain. Hold on. Let me do this. I turn this to like some kind of a light blue. I put this at the purple. It just matches, just so it's more succinct. This keeps it really simple, and it helps me keep out of some crappy trades. Not all of them, right? I'm still going to take a loss, but I need to know that I'm with the money, that I'm with the movement, especially in a move like this where I'm against the VWAP. So either way, that's how I would take it. My stop loss would be below my entry candle or the candle prior to, right? For futures. Before that, I would be using structure for the most part. Structure is where your stop loss should go, because your stop loss should be where the trade is no longer valid, not where you feel like it should be, right? So, stop loss there. Whatever confluences you want. We've used ADX, we've used MACD. Again, this MACD is now too slow for these settings. And then, of course, one of those considerations is this is against the VWAP. It's likely against the 50 as well. So this is your counter trend trade. If we were to put the 50 on the chart, this buy up is against the trend, right? Whereas like this sell down, which loses, it doesn't mean they're always going to win. This is with the trend because we're below the 50 or the VWAP. Here's a good example. You've got you're breaking out JGS. You kind of close below, a little bit tricky. You could take that earlier entry, but you're still in green territory on everything. So that's a little tricky. This is going to be really exciting and almost feel like you missed the move. And then you've got here. You're using this candle as an example. You can see we're starting to kind of get out of that super strong buying area on that chop zone, but we have 2 or 3 bars, got a couple bars now for the MACD, and you're against the VWAP. So I know worst case scenario, I can scout this from 951 all the way to the VWAP. That's 25, 30 points, and I'm in a pretty safe place. I know I've got a good scalp. If we continue beyond that, have a tight stop, I'd be looking to come take the lows, right? Stop loss would be above your entry candle, or of course structure if you're trading more, actual capital or larger room than prop firms give you, then over and over again. But the biggest thing is with this and with something like Inside Out is you still want to look at the big picture. Like I like JGS. Don't listen to me, but go look for yourself. Make your own decision. Go look for yourself, like at that 9:25 a.m. moment every single day before New York. If you go with that, you're going to win 70 to 80% of the time. And don't listen to me. Go try it yourself. Like go get your own numbers. Go do your own research to find out. Just going with JGS. Literally, it's that easy.
And so you're just using the 5-minute time frame on this?
I kept going smaller and smaller, justifying it because we're on futures and futures have rules and we need tighter stops and whatever else. I kept going smaller and smaller, thinking that was going to tighten up the things I needed to tighten up. I found that it didn't. I found that it gave me more headache, more chop. And I was right, don't get me wrong. I can scalp for 10, 20 points, but it was not where I wanted to go. I personally like the 5-minute. Like you can do this. I would say maybe the 2 is probably better than the 1, just because there's going to be so much noise on the 2-minute. But the benefit of something like this is if you're trading capital and you're not worried about like all the rules, let's use this. I know this is a good example, but let's say you took this trade. If you had your stop loss above structure or the candle itself, you're in. And it does retest, you're in drawdown. If you just stay in this trade, so like about here, you hit the 1-to-1. And from here, you say, hey, I'm going to stay in this trade for as long as we're staying below that purple, or AKA the 18 moving average. I can stay in it here. I know that this is a retest here. Okay. I know that that's a retest of the VWAP or the 50. Okay. Yeah, this is probably definitely a little further off from where the 50 is going to be, but we're with the trend now. We're in bearish territory. That slower MACD is definitely bearish. We know we're going to get a pullback. So coming up here, you could technically scalp this out, but you just made a lot of money. So why are we going to do that? Wait for that to pull back, give us a retracement. This is probably not a very large retracement. I'm assuming it's less than 30%. But as you get it over here, cool. Now again, you've got your fast MACD is lined up, your chop zone is lined up, and you can put whatever you want here. This is just the one I have right now. Or you can put nothing. It's up to you. I like it a lot though. You've retested your 50 or your VWAP. For conversation, I could put the moving average on here. Just so we can see it. Because I want you to understand like the big picture of what we make it white. Make it 50. I'm glad, honestly, guys, come out and ask questions. Like that's what I'm here for, is like to talk and to hang out and to do the things. This is your 50. So you'll see when you're kind of look how clean that is. It's not perfect, but the 50 moving average, I still love that baby. I miss her. She's so pretty.
Yeah.
She's so pretty. You guys can laugh, that's fine. But it moves differently, obviously, than the weave up. So the move that we were just on, we're kind of breaking above the 50, and this is where most people got trapped, even me. I'm still human. They tried to buy because, oh my gosh, we're breaking above the 50. But we're not, we don't have any continuation, right? We don't have any follow through. When we say we want to follow through, when we get it, if we have the speed, if we speed up our moving averages, we have it here. But on the big picture, we don't have that follow through to start reversing that trend. It's a beautiful potential head and shoulders. We're below the VWAP, we're below the 50. We can re-enter here and here. And those are going to be, I don't even know what that risk reward is, but it's probably pretty big. We want the close. If you entered worst case scenario here, because you want the continuation, or here, 2-minute time frame. Best case scenario, you got the 2.5. More accurately, you probably, if you were honestly trailing with the larger moving average, you probably got out somewhere in here. But you can also say, hey, look, I've got this much. I'm going to scale out of some of my position, okay, as we kind of come close. And this is against the trend. So for this move, I'd be trading to the 50. I'd be trading to the next level of support and just do that over and over again. But let's say your trade is now up 3R or 4R or 5R. By then, I don't want to be trailing with that bigger moving average. I want to be trailing tight. Like it's hard for me to duplicate some of these thought processes on futures. I still don't have a way yet because A, I don't have the size, and B, it's just different everything. But think, you've taken this trade, you're up 1-to-1, 2-to-1-ish, whatever. By the time you're up like a little bit more than 2-to-1, there's no sense in giving it back this much. By the time you're up a lot, start trailing by this smaller one and say, hey, if we close anywhere above that 5 amount, we close above the 5, you're out. Right? You're out here. Or of course, you can wait till we close above the 18 if you think this is going to be the big move. Like today, we're expecting a 200-point flush. I'm going to give this tons of room. You can do either. Either. But that's it in a nutshell. Go ahead.
Used to set the EMAs to the 15-minute time frame. Is that not relevant anymore?
So you can do, that's why I said, honestly, start with that playlist. There's just so much.
Yeah, okay.
Without giving the historical lesson, this started as a multi-time frame
Right.
setup. So think the 5-minute and the 1-minute, the 15 and the 5. Usually the next higher, just to be very clear, the next higher time frame would be, imagine, I'm going to go to 5-minute. If I'm on the 5-minute, the next higher time frame is the 15, right? So the 50 that's on the 15 is the 150 moving average. If you were using the 150 moving average, I know I'm just completely dumping all kinds of information here, but you're using that as the major trend, okay? And we can switch this to the 150. That's all you're doing. You're using that next higher time frame. On the MT5 version, which we don't have up right now, you can set it to where you are only taking entries that are in relation to the bigger time frame. That's beautiful because it's going to avoid some of these losing kind of this one you don't get the continuation. You're gonna avoid some losses, I'm not gonna lie. But you're also gonna avoid this trade. So that's when you have to know your levels and like know the bigger picture and the areas of interest that we talk about. Because this
Close out
trade won't give it to you.
trades when you're on this and just click it.
And you mentioned
I'm
your
sorry.
team is also making a MACD for this strategy also.
Yeah, well, more accurately, we're not focused as much as the oscillator. Oh wait, hold on. Aha. I made $29 today with that. Interesting. Sorry, I thought it was going to be more. It was not more. The automation did good today though. Let me go to test me. Hold on. I'm going to turn off this. I do have an updated version. I've got a couple things to run on it and I'll get it out to you guys soon. So we're more or less, this is bad, I know, but it's actually pretty accurate. I'm really impressed. I'm not gonna lie. Uh, we're more or less focused on what we're gonna do on the chart. So we're gonna clean up these labels and stuff. These are basal level labels, but there's a lot of potential with what we're building. So we are gonna build it on screen. We have a couple more confluences to kind of really get to the bottom of, but I'm kind of excited. So I don't know that we do have a version of MACD that's a tool like an indicator, but it's not going to be the same as the automation for on screen.
Awesome, exciting. Thank you, Ms. Jen.
We'll see. We'll see what happens there. Baby steps, always baby steps. So. But yeah, go back, watch. You don't have to use multi time frames. I think the biggest takeaway for something like JGS or YouTube or the 17, 18 of us still hanging out, here's the reality. I think knowledge is beautiful. Like it truly is. It's exciting. Like I'm a learner. There was a strengths test that I took at an IRB firm, I don't know, 20 years ago now, 18. I'm not that old. I'm 27 forever if you ask, but I'm a learner.
Aren't we all?
Yeah, there. I tested that. Like I am, it's in my nature. But here's the thing about learning. I think at the end of the day, no matter how many concepts and strategies and nonsense we pick up from YouTube or anybody, like them or lump them, doesn't even matter. At the end of the day, I think the biggest part of trading is taking that basket of information, right? And saying, wait, I hate this. I like this. I see the value here, but I don't understand it. I don't see it well. I want to learn this, so I'm going to work on this. And take this basket, right? And from that basket, build a bear, okay? That's all we're doing is we're going to build a bear and say, this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to say, I like this time frame. Get away from the time frame noise. That's huge because that was the big problem too, is looking at 50 different time frames, and now you're all over the place. You can't figure out what you're doing or what to do next, and it's an awful situation, right? Like take all the pieces of information. Like, so for me, my strategies consist of what I call areas of interest. If I wanted to sum it up in 2 minutes, areas of interest, JGS, and a formation of candle formations or breakout and orb. That's it. That's all I do. And it depends on what the day is. Like today, we probably would have been fine with not breakout. There just wasn't enough room in breakout, and it still hasn't really broke out. I mean, it did technically, but it wicked out first. Like any of those is going to have an edge. The problem is some days your strategy will have lost and somebody else's will have won, and you're going to think your strategy is awful and that you need to quit and find something new. That's the problem because everybody's strategy is going to win one day and lose another, no matter which one you pick. No matter which one. So let's build a bear. Like if you like, I like the cloud. I think it just keeps me clean. It keeps me a day like this, not clean. A day like this before we came on, man, that's pretty clean. We know we're above the 50 moving average, we're above the VWAP. We're taking every retest. Cool. We know we can kind of take any inside out on the way up. Cool. We know we've got options because it's just clean. Like it helps me. It helps me see. If it doesn't help you see, I don't think we should be using it. Like I don't think you should try to force those things. I think if you like levels, let's learn to bid levels. Now, I don't like bidding levels blind. I think you should be using some kind of entry method, but I'm a big advocate of having some kind of areas of interest or levels. I don't care if it's quarter points, Fibonacci, pivot points, supply, demand, structure, order blocks, ICT concepts. I don't care where you get your levels, okay? But have some kind of way to mark up or see particular levels on the chart, right? Any of those are fine. Whichever one's your IC, good, fine. Create rules around it, cool. And then have a reason to enter. Those reasons can be something like a candle formation, right? They can be something like JGS. That's why I keep it, is it's a good entry method. So if I came to the chart here, which I did at the end of the day, and I'm like, cool, I want to buy. Let me turn this back on just so you can see it. I'm like, cool, I want to buy. Everyone was trying to buy here. They probably got their butts handed to them because we also wicked down one more time, right? We came down one more time. But our little breakout box, our inside out showed us we were consolidating. And it shows we were consolidating again too. This is 1500, right before that end of day. So we know how to stay out of things. But if I'm looking for a buy, I can't just bid the level. I want to know we've got a sweep, we've got whatever, and then I've got my JGS to kind of confirm. We've got it here, but we don't continue anything beyond that. So to me, find your levels any way you want that your IC best is fine, and an entry method. It doesn't have to be JGS, but if we compartmentalize things like that, here are my levels and here's my entry method, and then here are my rules for putting it all together. Build your bear and build your trading plan, and then ta-da, Bob's your uncle, you're good to go. And now you just got to do the muscle memory and the work to size down in a couple months, and ideally, you're probably just fine. Trading is not that hard. The rest of it's hard. The trading part, not hard.
Thank
It's
you, Shane.
But okay, guys, actually, it was a cool class. It was cool talking about all the things. Rosie told me this
Hey,
weekend.
Jenny,
Yep.
can I change gears here for a second? I've got some accounts that I need to place
Hmm?
trades in, and on my Tradeovate, every time I try to move to the different account, I've already went to the manager and made the accounts, but when I click on them and I try to trade them, it comes up as it gives me it
Order
says the
rejected.
selected account group um must be must contain the current account. What am I doing wrong?
Okay, I'll show you. Share your screen real quick. No, you don't mind. When you share this, it's going to be like on this video, and we can cut it off at the end, but it's going to be on this video. Is that okay with you?
It's fine. I just don't want y'all to talk about me because I'm, like I said, I'm just trying to let me share.
Hey, listen, I
Where's
promise you, I lost 33,000 yesterday. Somebody else blew 20 PAs today. We are all in the same superhuman boat, my friend. As long as we're learning and growing, I think we're on the right track. As long as, oh,
you don't have to cut it off because I want to go back and look at the video anyway, so it's not a problem. I'm just saying I'm just trading the small accounts, but I'm trying to build slowly,
here we
so
go.
yeah.
Actually, give me a second. Let me see what I can show you. So, let me go to share screen. I can show you what is on mine. Okay. So share the screen. So I'm going to pull this up for a second. Double checking to see if there's anything. There we go. Baby steps. Where'd my Tradeovate go? Here we go. Got it. Maybe. So on here we go. I have a group set of trading. Okay. I'm flat on the day. There's nothing else on here. Okay. I have a group of trading. In this group, I'm gonna have to pull this up a little bit more too. These are funded, right? Cool. One of these is not funded. This one that ends in an E is not funded, right? That's not a funded count. It's just a regular count. So now if I come in here and I'm going to go up a little bit more, if I go to manage groups, okay. And right now 92 and 22 are not in there. So watch what happens. If I put 22, which one do I want to take a trade on? I'm going to keep it like that. So hit save. Okay. Those two are not in my group right now. I am on 22. It is not in my group. I'm on MNQ just to confirm if I make a problem. And as I hit sell, I hit sell. The selected account group must contain the current account. That's the thing you're getting.
Exactly.
So the reason why I got that is because this account that I'm currently on is not in the group that I have created. So now I need to go to manage groups, and I would add this to my group, right? Which I don't want to have it in there because that one it's passed, but it's just I can't, not allowed to have it right now because you're only allowed to have 5.
You only can have a limit of 5 in a group.
No, that's just for this broker. You can have, I don't think Tradeovate itself has a limit. Every broker has a limit though. So that's a separate topic. I'm sorry to confuse you, but you can create as
I
many
know
as you
now
want
count with
in
5
this.
of them. That's why.
So now go to your manage groups. Okay. If you go right here to manage groups, click on it and make sure that all of your active accounts are dragged into there. Do you see how I have none available and they're all over here?
Mhm.
and then I hit save and now try it. Well, I wouldn't try it on all of my accounts right now unless you really are looking to buy it up. Be careful.
Yeah, what I'm trying to do, like I said, I'm just trying to at least do a trade on it so I won't get disqualified, a little small. But I did all the stuff that you showed here. I slid the accounts over to the right, or because I got three different accounts. I mean, not three different accounts. Yeah, three different accounts. I'm sorry, and I slid them over there. But I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go back and redo them and slide them over again to make sure that they have been registered.
Okay.
Um, where do you what do you use when? Because I know Tradeovate will not allow you to do bracket orders, correct?
Tradeovate will not allow bracket. So to be very specific, Tradeovate will not allow bracket orders when I'm on a group. So if I'm on a group, if I unclick this, I can still take this trade with a bracket order. But if I'm trading a group, I can't use bracket orders.
Right, that's what I meant. Yeah, yeah. So you can't. So when you do your bracket orders on Ninja Trader, or do you do
No,
bracket?
I do bracket orders on Tradeovate and I don't group trade on Tradeovate. I group trade currently from TradeSyncer or Ninja Trader.
That's what I needed to know. Okay, yeah. So you, so all right. So and
Honestly,
the
honestly, sweetheart, what I would do, like just for you, for right now, I would just, I would not worry about the ATM right now and the brackets. I would just worry about the group. And that means I'm going to take, how much of a buffer do I have? I don't know, a couple $100 of a buffer on that. But I would take my order, I would place, sell or buy, and then I would drop my orders and know that I have to hit exit all. Okay, I have to close them all out. That's what I would be doing.
okay. So once you place your order, then you click on the screen and put your stop loss manually, and you take profit.
That's correct, yeah. So if I was going to sell here, I would hit sell market or sell ask, and then I would put a buy limit for a stop loss and a buy limit for a take profit, knowing that when one of those gets hit, I still have to go cancel all the orders.
Oh, you do, so it wouldn't cancel your group all the orders on its own when you click. I mean, when it hits the take profit or the stop loss, it wouldn't close all of the trades out on its own.
That's correct. It does not. And
That's
more accurately, don't take that at face value because in my experience, some brokers have no problem with the OCO, which is why I got so tripped up. We call that OCO, which means open closes order, right? Some brokers, it happened naturally, and I've checked all the settings, I've emailed all the brokers, I've looked into it, but I don't have any clarity on why sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Maybe it was a human thing, but you need to assume that under all conditions you don't have order closes order. We call that OCO. That means if one of the targets get hit, whether that's your exit for your stop loss or your exit for your take profit, assume that the other one didn't close and that you still need to exit it just out of precautionary measure.
to be on the
Because
safe side.
yeah, like I've been at this now, it'll be a year, what, March, April, when I really started taking it seriously. So we've gotten pretty far. Actually, I'm gonna make a cool video today or tomorrow kind of showing how far we've got. But here's what I'll tell you. I spent the first 2 to 4 months getting my butt handed to me because I didn't understand that. Like I didn't understand the difference between a ghost order and then the order closes order. I didn't even know that. So I was hitting my head against the wall thinking, what the heck, right? Because I didn't know better. So when I say assume 100% of the time that the order doesn't close the other order, 100% of the time, you need to assume that you need to manually close and flatten in any methodology that you know how.
Okay. That's good to know because it can jack you up. Now the last question, I keep my group orders open at the bottom so I can see which group I'm trading once I get there. But in any case, when my 25,000 is working okay, I can go ahead and trade with that for now. But the problem is, how do I lock it where, when you're in profit or you're in loss, you keep on bouncing from the top to the bottom? How do you lock it so it just stays one place?
Oh, that is a good question. So I don't really know what to do there. Like, I don't know.
Saw a lock on it at one point, but I
Like,
can't get it to
I
populate again.
I think if I wanted this to quit bouncing around, I would I don't know. I don't know which one of these would be best to make it stop. But you see how there's a little arrow up here? I honestly don't know. I would assume if I wanted it pretty stagnant, I would do this or this. This method, like clicking on this one over here, is going to rotate them in a different direction. Maybe that would make it stable. So try this one first. So organize by account name. If that doesn't work, this is going to fluctuate.
Yeah, because it can be very annoying. You can miss a move if you're in profit and you got a lot of volatility in the market by the time you scroll down. And it all spread because I only have about I think about 11 um, not accounts, I'm sorry, but positions, I guess you would call them.
Oh, you're talking
But
about
it's
positions.
but now I meant
Accounts.
I got like I got three group, but I got three in one, three in the other, and five in the other. That's what I mean. So it kind of bounces up and down at the top, and then it'll go down to the bottom. It's kind of annoying.
Okay. Um, why do you
But
have them
I
set?
can
Can I ask why you have them set in three different groups? Are they different account sizes or different drawdown levels
say
or?
they are. Yes,
Okay.
they're three different account sizes, and
Okay.
one actually is a static, and the other two are a whole account. So I can't mix
Oh,
them like that.
that's a good question. I honestly don't know. So like you can see the accounts here that like these ones haven't got payout this week anyways. These other ones got payout, low buffer right now. It- I I would think, I don't know for sure, but I would think this one is going to keep it a little more stable, but it's also going to be fluctuating in a live trade. So I think the closest thing I would get is probably here, the organizing by account size, but I honestly don't know. Because anytime I reorganize these, they move. You know what I'm saying? So I'm assuming do it by account name and that should stay stable. This way they'll stay in a row. So try this one, this arrow over here. And if that doesn't work, I honestly don't know.
See, I don't the way I've got I don't have the I don't have the my I've got dollar open, dollar total PL, drawdown auto, distant drawdown, and distant to liquidation only. So I only have those five
You can set this
tabs.
up differently. You get to decide what's important to you. I feel like this is what's important to me. I always have an accounts tab.
Screenshot if
Yeah, I always have an accounts tab. Derek, you can come on out if you think you have an answer to that. But an accounts tab or orders or positions. And I like these because this tells me my distance to drawdown is probably the most important, right? Um, I can go select columns. Like you have a ton of options. I've played with a lot of them, but I don't think most of them are necessary. So I like this is what I have mine saved as. If this works for me.
I can try that because I don't see like you see how yours is now. Where's your drop? Okay. Because mine, let me see, there's they have a drop down. See, the accounts that I mean, the links that I have, they don't have a drop down that I click on. So maybe I need to get yours. And yeah, it doesn't give me the option to, yeah, those when you got those arrows on, I don't have
Well,
those arrows.
watch, just try clicking on it. Just click on the letters. If you click on the letters, does that reorganize them?
Uh, yeah, it when I click on the link at the top,
Yep, it'll
it'll
just
bring it to,
reorganize
yeah, it'll bring it to the top. So
it.
maybe that controls to stop them from moving up and down.
Yeah.
But what I'll do, I'll play with it. But the main thing which you answer, which I appreciate, I'm gonna go back and make sure that I've moved all the accounts that because I already got them named you know, for each account. But I got to make sure that I drug all the proper ones over to where they're supposed to be, so that way I'll be able to bring them. But thank you, Jenny. You're very patient. I appreciate your help.
No, thank you. I appreciate you guys. Derek, you had a question?
Yeah, I need you to go over the multiple contracts. I'm saying not multiple contracts, multiple accounts when you copying, because when I did mine the exact same way. But it kept telling me can't trade um, multiple bracket orders or something like that. But see, I was trying to set my my TP and stop loss because I know I had took a trade once, and as soon as I took the trade, my TP and stop loss was so close until as soon as I touched it, it took me in and took me right back out.
Okay, so that was a multiple part from what I think I understand. So number one, the first part of what you said, I might have misheard, but you cannot trade bracket orders while you're in group orders. You know that part, right? So you
Okay,
can't trade a bracket. So the only watch, if I try to place an order, but so watch, if I hit buy, multi-bracket orders are not supported in group mode. So the only
right,
way I'm
right.
allowed to use my ATM is if I'm not in the group mode. Okay.
Okay, okay.
So that's the first part of the question. So if I now take that off, um, and let's say I want to place this order, maybe you're saying that when you did place it, they were too close, they got hit immediately.
Yeah,
Did you check your numbers? Like, so don't just look at my math, do your own math, guys. So, I'm first off, I'm superhuman. I be doing math in public sometimes. I try, but we know that 1 point is 4 ticks, right?
right.
So,
I mean,
so
I
we
had changed it, but it I don't know. It just didn't take. I guess I don't know because I
so
had set, but I think I set a bracket order instead. So I guess my biggest question is, how do I set my TP and stop loss without doing a bracket order?
Okay, so that's an easy question. We got that one. So if I wanted to, I'm going to turn this off real quick. This is just a demo. I mean, no, this is not a demo. Which one has an E on it? Hold on. The little zoom thing is in my way. Um, E, so 92. So this is just a demo account. It's passed, but I can't move it up. So I'm on one micro. If I hit buy market, okay, and I want to now place my take profit, I'm going to click on the chart once and do a sell limit order. And I'm going to click on the chart and do a sell stop order. So now if this pops up or down, right, it's
Uh-huh.
going to, we'll let this play out. It's up a couple bucks. Ooh, $7. We made $7. Six. The big numbers are misleading because they also mess with your head and then they make you not appreciate the $7. But either way, once the thing that I would want people to see on screen, which we might not get it because it's just it's not, we're not moving at this very millisecond, but is if this order closes, the other one doesn't. So hopefully it knocks me out pretty quick, but we'll see. So we're up $8. I want it to kind of close. Hopefully it closes me out pretty quick. This order doesn't disappear. Now on some broker, oh, just knock me out, baby. Come on. Touch it. Come on. It's such a good thing. There you go. So see how this order is on? We made $11. Okay. This did not disappear. So now if you fail to come in here and hit this exit all positions, that's one way to do it. I'm gonna
Uh-huh.
close that out. Exit all positions. If you fail to do that, and or if you accidentally left this order open on other things, that's what this orders tab is really good for. I'm
Uh-huh.
gonna pull this back down. This will show you where those, I have a working order, and you need to know you've got working orders, okay? You've got
Right.
to know that you've got them here. So I'm gonna hit exit, and now I've got no working orders. I can reorganize it by hitting order status. And I've got, after again spending 3 or 4 months, I thought I was a fast learner until I had to learn some things, which not has not felt fast at all. I do this on almost every account every day. I check my order status to make sure I don't have any open orders. And I also
Okay.
check it on Ninja and I check it on TradeSyncer just because that costed me a quarter of last year, like literally the whole quarter of me not knowing any better, right?
Right.
So
So it's no other way to preset your TP and stop loss other than just using the bracket order for one account.
well, there again, like I said earlier a second ago, there are technically, supposedly, some ways to do the order cancels order. I have personally not found a reliable way. I never did. That's why I'm jumping through so many hoops to be able to use the ATM. I have
Right.
struggled a lot. Like I'm trying to find the best copy service because I care more about the ATM than I care about some of the other things. So I'm making sacrifices to be able to maintain my ATM because otherwise I have found that I flipping frickin' with all the F's that go into that, I hate it because think about if you were copying, 3, 5, 8, 10, 12 accounts,
Yeah,
and then you have
exactly.
those open order that you didn't know, okay? It's catastrophic. Like especially when they're far out of the way, they're like way over here. Okay. Like, even if you've checked the screen, you don't know, but you've got
Right.
to, again, the whole working order. I can see them working, and now I hit exit, they're gone. And just to double check, I hit exit again, they're gone. Everything's
Right.
gone.
Okay. Okay. All
So
right.
And then why Tradeovate don't allow you to, if they know you got groups, you're doing copy trading or group, why they don't allow you to just do bracket orders because that's what you're doing? It
well,
doesn't make
so
sense.
supposedly, now don't quote me because I don't know, but supposedly this new Tradeovate prop, because remember they rebranded in the last, I don't know, 30, 60 days. Supposedly they're going to be potentially implementing that. Now, please notice how many supposedlys and potentiallys I just inserted there. I don't know, but in their defense, I can only assume Tradeovate is immensely fast and immensely accurate. We all have to understand that if they allow that, it is going to take away from, I would guesstimate, probably 20 to 30% of this incredible price action we see here. The fact that we have the fills and the access we do, Tradeovate is honestly, I mean, incredible at that. If they add multi-bracket orders to group orders, that will like I know we feel
Take
like we're
profit
just
away from them, right?
it's no, I don't think that's it. I think it's going to freeze the heck out of this. I think it's going to break their working system. Because please
Or you're talking about
understand,
the software,
yeah.
you mess with the software, I see.
So we figure if there's a million users, and I'm assuming there's more than that, but let's use some round numbers. If there's a million users, and again, it works 99% of the time, this is the fastest thing I've ever seen. Even with crappy internet connection, like this is a beast. Now add a million users putting multiple brackets and tripling down with 100 contracts, and all of them have a take profit and a stop loss. That takes the million times, it's 300%.
Doesn't it still affect Tradeovate even when you do the bracket orders on Ninja Trader? So it's the same outcome, correct?
I mean, no, there's nothing that's going to be the exact same. I've talked about it for years. It's only become more digestible now, but variance is part of this industry. Like we have to digest for that. Like if I take my trade on Tradeovate and I copy through TradeSyncer or Ninja Trader, there's always going to be some variance, right? There's always going to be some
Right,
slippage.
right, yeah.
100%. So it is different coming to Ninja and allowing Ninja to hold that power to bracket. Remember, it's not directly tied into this. So it's a secondary or third. If we think about it in terms of like steps of communication, this is one step, this is two steps, this is three steps, this is four. Tradeovate is here. Okay. They're getting the tip top of everything. So this is fast. The orders coming from here for like, let's say this is Ninja. It's actually kind of cool because I wish it functioned better, like if this was like Ninja or TradeSyncer, because that means we get to keep all the excellence and that is here without impacting it. But these have some weaknesses too. So this is TradeSyncer. You got to think it's a secondary or third, maybe even fourth, like code command. I'm not a coder by any means, but just so we all know, all these things have code commands, and I'm probably speaking gibberish at this point, but this is third or fourth, importance. This is first. So I understand why Tradeovate doesn't have that, because right now I'm sure they don't have a way to do it. Just judging by how many other companies are trying and failing at implementing this effectively, it's not going to be cheap on the code side, and it's not going to be inexpensive on the power and the energy and the data side. Right now, anything that's communicating to Tradeovate is, probably 4 levels below in terms of importance, in terms of even technology has to read these lines, right? It's many, many levels removed. So either way, yeah, I just think it's going to be slower. There's going to be variance. We'll see what happens over time, but if they try to bring that code over here, I think it's going to inevitably, it might end up hurting Tradeovate more than it helped it. Because look at Project X. Everybody wanted all the features Project X has, but now everybody hates Project X. Project X can't keep up. And that's not because they're bad. I'm 1,000% sure that the people investing into that company and building that software, whether or not we like them or lump them, I don't know them from Adam, okay? I'm 100% sure that they want to make a good product, but it's not an easy thing to do no matter how much money you throw at it, because they have to get the data, they have to get the code, they have to take the data and compare it to this and log into the account. They have to have this order of operations and all these codes that have to process all this thing. And it's which comes first? You have to have a hierarchy of code there that comes in of which line gets read first and when, which one gets applied first and when. And since all of these lines of code are reliant on external things, think about the pings there, the pings and the delays. It's a ping and a ping and a ping and a ping, and this is a step one, and this is a ping, and this is a ping, and this one has to wait for this. But if this doesn't come through, then this. If this doesn't come through, then this. And if this, sorry, my brain is doing the thing now, but you get the idea. It's not easy. I don't have a solution. I'm 90% sure they don't have a solution. I pray that if they implement it, it is functional. And if they don't, I will reluctantly accept that, because I understand the relay in the ping functionality that everyone is experiencing, like TradeSyncer. This website can't even load. This thing is so heavy, it won't just go to the next page. So I get it across the board. I do get it. Get it. But I've been yapping now for a while. Honestly, great conversation, great questions. This is what we're here for. My daughter said before she went back to Spain, she sent me some Instagram video. It's sometimes you forget, because it's become so second nature for you, you kind of minimize your excellence or your expertise, right? And she's always really encouraging and speaks a ton of life into me. So this was very life affirming to be able to speak about some of the stuff I'm passionate about and knowledgeable about. So by all means, ask your questions, come out, let's have great conversations. Sorry, I'm flat on the day. It just wasn't the day. I was honestly considering bidding that level. I didn't see it. I'll go to that right now. I was considering this level because this was the RTH low. And it has a 70% likelihood of doing it. Of moving for 50 points, but I just didn't love it because I wanted to see if we can get down a little bit further. So this was the only good trade on the day. We bid the VWAP, but it wasn't my move. So I'm flat on the day. I might come back at 2. Other than that, happy trading. Thank you all for hanging out. If you made any money or didn't, all the good and bad and ugly, share it in the charts. And I will be back next week. Happy weekend. Love you guys.